One area where this is a stunning story out of Afghanistan this morning. Turns out Afghanistan is broke. I'm sure this is probably doesn't come as much of a surprise to you. We saw those videos, those pictures of the people in Afghanistan waiting in those long lines, trying to get money out of the bank, trying to get, once we found out that sort of the government was falling, fiat currency was falling, these people were like standing in line at the bank trying to get their access to their money. Well, and they couldn't because the bankers had left town. Well, we got some this is really just unbelievable. News out of Afghanistan this morning. Afghanistan's economic crisis. No one has any money, says an Afghani banker, after the United States seized its central bank assets. So we really want to help the people of Afghanistan, right? So the Federal Reserve seizes the assets out of these banks in Afghanistan. So this is unbelievable. Basically, the U.S. government revealed that the Federal Reserve and other financial partners have confiscated $10 billion worth of Afghani assets that belong to the country's central bank. Following that report this week, reports show that the Afghani people have zero money thanks to this asset confiscation. Speaking about the situation, a central bank Afghanistan employee said, "No one has money. Gone." It's unbelievable. You run out of cash, and these employees at these banks saying the central bank basically say the paychecks have stopped. Afghanistani families have zero daily spending money. The bank is out of assets entirely, and you've got a stack of cards that's about to come down.
Do you think centralized banking has flaws?
Yeah, imagine that, right? Imagine saying that, like, wouldn't it be amazing if they had some sort of cryptocurrency, or if they were allowed to use like Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency, where governments can't manipulate it like that? I mean, think about how 20 years and $2 trillion we spend there, and no one has any money, and the bank collapses, and then we seize their government's money. An economic source said that a crisis will likely happen. Very quickly, this is going to get very bad. I have many wishes. All of them are going to die. All of my wishes. We're moving towards a hopeless future. And it doesn't have to be. There's a number of experts that believe that by allowing cryptocurrency into this country, or giving some sort of an ability for people to gain access to digital wallets and Bitcoin, would transform this country. Just like other countries throughout the world, who are now, El Salvador is only a few days away now from legalizing or making Bitcoin legal tender in that country. The United States news this morning of Bitcoin, Bitcoin of America, listed by Inc. magazine as one of the 5,000, one of the top fastest growing private companies in America. And what is it? Basically ATMs, coin ATM radar. You can go and basically go in, get you want to get cash out? No problem. Just go to your Bitcoin wallet right there. Boom. There's your cash if you need it. No problem. We don't have to rely on these central banks, these corrupt central banks. Imagine that.
Boy, the Fed is not going to like that.
No, they won't. No one has money.
Could you imagine what the system would be like if our paychecks and everything came in crypto that they could not track? There would be a way that we could it would basically be like you could pay your taxes on a certain amount, but they wouldn't be able to get in and take your money like they can right now. Like they can go in literally and take your money. They can garnish your wages if you, the IRS can, if you don't pay your taxes.
Yeah. And here, as this report highlights, how the Biden administration swiftly moved in and blocked the Taliban from accessing the billions of dollars held by the central bank in the United States. In addition to this, the United States and allies confiscated $10 billion in assets, halted $450 million in funds that were meant to be distributed in Afghanistan, and it also froze the Afghanistan's central bank access to monetary support, leaving basically Afghanistan an utter wasteland. So imagine if they had Bitcoin. Again, would Al-Qaeda, would the Taliban even exist? How would they fund operations? I'm more concerned about the people of Afghanistan Suddenly they go to their bank to get money to be able to pay for things. They can't because their government currency is just like disappeared, collapsed. So imagine having Bitcoin, which is in many ways the ultimate store of value.
It's kind of like George Bailey. Well, Afghanistan people, your money's in that tank and that bomb and that military compound over there. That's where your money is.
Right. Yeah. Here's all your money. It's in all of the, here's in all the weapons and the Humvees and the tanks and everything else we left behind. Why don't you go grab one of those tanks?
Anybody know how to fly a Black Hawk?
So what is what I'm curious what the answer is going to be from the U.S. government, because, we funded most of it. So now what? Are we just going to continue to fund it? Or somehow are we going to put the money back in and just start flooding money back into their economy to help people? I mean, who knows? Are we talking about a total meltdown in their banking sector? On the August 23rd memo sent by the Afghan American Chamber of Commerce says Afghanistan and its banking sector are at an existential flashpoint where the collapse of the banking sector is at hand. It's happened. Yeah, it's over. Again, crypto, Bitcoin, store of value, a way of transforming societies and countries that, heretofore have been stuck in this level of poverty. And, maybe setting up, I don't know, be interesting to see. I mean, these popping up around, but this is your answer. One of the fastest growing companies in America right now. Because you were asking last week, where you're like, well, how do people get money out? Like if they need to transfer that into their, well, here you go.
Yeah.
And imagine
like
having,
I was saying, there has to be an infrastructure. What I was saying, the only way that Bitcoin and crypto could be used on a mass scale would be to take the current system we have with our debit cards and our banking system and replicate it in that system so that it's easy for us to go, like you said, go to ATMs, take out a card, pay for our groceries and stuff. There has to be an infrastructure that we can understand, because nobody's going to walk up and be like, here's my Bitcoin wallet ID. It's like this long string, like, you know what I mean? It has to be something that people can easily adopt or it won't get adopted.
Right. So what do we know, right? We already understand these different ways of using, cash at ATMs and so forth, and mobile banking. So make it easy, make it accessible. Could transform societies. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Drop me a comment below. Could Bitcoin save Afghanistan?
You know what won't save Afghanistan? Centralized banking.
No. Let's set up a new Afghan central bank with the Taliban at the helm. See how that goes. See how the IMF is. The IMF, by the way, going to, like the International Monetary Fund, like that works with central banks, like, oh, this is a Taliban central bank. Yeah, let's send you some money. Like, that's essentially, yeah, we're going to send you money.
The problem is we start the centralized bank and we give these countries money, and then they're in debt to us. And then if we ask them to do something and they don't do it, we can crash their economy or whatever we want to do.
Well, and so the money doesn't go to the people. I mean, the money, we send the money, like, you think the Taliban is going to be handing out money? Aid to help these people? No, of course not.
That's what happened. Look at Iceland. I mean, that's what happened. They were like, centralized banking, that doesn't work. We're going to go to this, back to this.
Yeah. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.